What up? What up? Talking 2019 fantasy football sleepers and breakouts. Who can win your league in 2019? Who is a guy you can stash on your bench late? Let's talk about mid-range sleepers. Let's talk about big name sleepers. Big name players can be sleepers as well. When people tell you that a guy in the second round can't be a sleeper, well, guess what? I'll define it however I want. I want to define sleeper because I have a site called Sleeper U, and at Sleeper U, which is essentially a university for fantasy football sleeper candidates, you can take a guy in the mid-second round that can win you a league and have value that's way beyond the scope of where you're drafting them. So what's going on, guys? What's up, Eric? What's up, Darryl? What's up, Peter? So sleepers, toss them out. Who you guys thinking? Who do you want to talk about? Tyrion Johnson used to be a sleeper. Now he's becoming a guy that people are probably going to overextend and reach for. We know that I'm going to say Darrell Henderson. We know that I'm going to say Jaylen Samuels. We know I'm going to say Damien Harris. Those are all sleeper candidates for me that can win you a league if you grab them. But who are some other guys that we aren't talking about? Some people might say, like a Christian Kirk. Someone might say Tyler Boyd, like Peter. Tyler Boyd is a sleeper, and we got a AJ Green scare today, which probably sent Tyler Boyd's value through the roof. And people are going to, I think, reach pretty high for him. Damien Harris is definitely one. Nikhil Harry, even a redraft. Armstead, the backup running back, perfect one, Eric, to toss out. Robert Woods, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You're going to be stealing him away. He's got fourth-round value, so I wouldn't call Robert Woods a sleeper. And I'm not saying that big-name players can't be a sleeper, but Robert Woods, to me, is getting drafted about, to that point where I don't think, he's going to have to really deliver to earn that value. Boy, Peter says Tyler Boyd is better with AJ Green, though. I don't know that you can just look at what happened in the past. What was going on with Dalton when AJ Green was out and Boyd wasn't doing well? There's a lot of factors at play there, variables you can't really, lay out and map out and say, hey, this means this. We don't know. Tyler Boyd could be very good without AJ Green. If Haskins gets the job, he's got good value. Jaylen Samuels, Elijah, definitely. He's one of my number one go-gets, but with Benny Snell. Don't forget to get Jaylen Samuels and Benny Snell together. The duo is the important thing. James Washington absolutely has sleeper value. No question about it. Calvin Ridley, he's climbing into the fourth round, so I'd say his sleeper value is diminishing quite a bit, but I like him a ton. I think that he could be an elite wide receiver too. Ballage for sure has sleeper potential. Everybody's on the Drake train right now, and I think that Ballage is good value until he doesn't have good value. When people start reaching for him, it's time to, I think, go ahead and take a pass on him. But for now, he does have sleeper value for sure. I think there are a lot of players that, in my opinion, in the middle rounds that could go quickly from sleeper to being overvalued. Even in the early rounds, or I'd say middle to early rounds. So a guy like Kenyan Johnson right now, Kerryon's got sleeper potential for sure. But eventually, once he climbs into second round value, he no longer fits that description of a sleeper, and he becomes potentially high risk once you start expecting him to deliver numbers that we're expecting out of a Dalvin Cook or a Mike Evans. Then you have a lot of Kenyan Johnson's upside goes away. For now, Kenyan still has amazing sleeper potential in the third round. Ty Johnson, Detroit, is the reason that Riddick got cut. Yes, I like Ty. Alexander Madison for sure. Not only a good standalone sleeper, but a guy you want to handcuff to Dalvin Cook every single time. Throw out some other guys. I think at quarterback, there aren't a ton of sleepers like there have been in years past, like Baker Mayfield and Mahomes from last year. We're looking now at the sleeper running backs being of the Drew Brees, the Ben Roethlisberger, and Tom Brady variety. We're talking about old guys being the sleepers in 2019 fantasy football. There are no Lamar Jackson. I'm not a fan of. He could do well running the football until he gets hurt, but I'm not a big fan of Jackson. I just don't think he's going to develop. But I could be wrong. It could be one of the ones I'm wrong about. Down to Foreman, yeah, he could be one. Fant Hawkinson, definitely. For rookies, they could be definitely better than people are expecting, for sure. What else do you guys got? Throw them at me. Justice Hill, for sure. I like him a ton. I think he could be... I do think Ingram's very undervalued. So for me, Ingram is the guy. But if something happens, I mean, Hill could definitely be a really, really good running back to own. Goodwin, I've always liked him, but he does struggle to stay consistent, and stay healthy. But we'll see. I think Goodwin could definitely be good. But we have with Pettis, with Debo, I don't know. Gus Edwards, not a fan. Eric, Deion Kane, Data Westbrook, decent sleeper appeal for sure. Some loud people. Must be Todd Gurley owners over there. Day, yeah, I think he's okay. Mark Andrews, yeah, I think he could be pretty good. Low risk. And Njoku is definitely breakout material. Newton, Newton I guess could fall into a sleeper range. I hate when people say you can't have a big name player as a sleeper. Who says? Who define sleeper however you want? Moncrief qualifies as a sleeper, but Cam Newton can be. Larry Fitz can be a sleeper. It doesn't. I'm not saying unknown player that is a sleeper. I'm telling you to toss out guys that people are sleeping on. It's as simple as that. You can sleep on a George Kittle in the 3rd round. George Kittle is a sleeper variety of the big name variety because people are sleeping on him. George Kittle can win you a league in the 3rd round. Isabella for sure, and Dynasty especially. I don't know how many of you are playing Dynasty leagues actively with your redraft leagues. I imagine a lot of you, but Dynasty content, we should be talking about more Dynasty. I don't know why we don't talk more Dynasty on the show. We should. Eckler definitely has some appeal. Kareem Hunt has appeal. No question about it. Eckler and Jackson, I don't know who's going to be the guy if that situation falls apart. Word is that Gordon and the Chargers are closer than people think. Jake Butt, yeah, he could be okay. I'm not a huge fan. But I do think that the Gordon situation has a decent chance of working out at this point. We'll see. I think Ezekiel Elliott, that situation is going to work out. I really firmly believe that's not going to be a big deal in a couple weeks, but we'll see. What does my hat say? ASU. Fant. Like him. Ballage outperforms Drake. He could. No question, man. What's the next question? How's Phoenix? It's good, Elijah. It's hot. Anybody else from Phoenix here? Or at least Arizona? Quincy, not a huge fan, man. He's had a lot of time to do things and hasn't gotten things done. Allen Robinson, he's okay. I'm not feeling it. Phoenix Sand, represent. Where are you in at Sand? I forget where. What part? Minnesota. A-Rob's okay. I'm not. I don't hate A-Rob, but I'm definitely not invested in A-Rob heavy. Jeffrey. Somehow I end up with him auto drafted a lot, but I don't actively go after Jeffrey much. You have the number 5 pick, Harry or Sanders. The real question, Myron, is: are you going to be passing on Darrell Henderson? If you are, take a lap. And shame on you. Darrell Henderson's the guy to grab. No question about it. But Harry, I mean, let me restate that. Harry shouldn't fall. Like, I don't know how Harry could fall to at number 5. If Harry fell, take Harry. But I don't anticipate Harry falling unless you know all 4 of the selections going ahead of you, which would be pretty crazy if people revealed that information. But if Harry's gone, I don't take Sanders. I take Darrell Henderson. Missouri, Evan Ingram, not a fan, but he qualifies. South Mountain for you? Okay. I'm in downtown. Yeah, take a lap for that one. Love your Montgomery hype. Scouted him since February for Dynasty League, but got sniped on him. So you're drafting him in the 4th, 5th round. I'm drafting, best ball, do your best ball drafts now. Get David Montgomery on your team at 4th round value. Absolutely crazy. Some people getting him at 5th. That's not going to stay the same. It's going to change. You're not going to be able to sniff David Montgomery anywhere near 4th and 5th round value once he hits the field and shows how dominant he is. This is ridiculous that David Montgomery is going in the 4th and 5th round still. 8-team auction, just buy the best player available. Man, I'd be tempted to go wide receiver. And I know in an auction you're not drafting, but mentality wise, so you're taking Hopkins, Odell, and Adams, or Hopkins, Odell, and Mike Evans, or Hopkins, Odell, and AB. And if you take those 3, because it's a smaller league, running backs will be more available later. You'll still get your David Montgomery, and you could get your Pat Mahomes, your Aaron Rodgers, or your Baker Mayfield. Grab one of those QBs with David Montgomery and 3 wide receivers, and dude, you can clean up. That's my favorite auction strategy, whether you're in an 8-team, 10-team, or 12-team, whatever. Yeah, Montgomery's going to go nuts in that Chicago offense. They're going to use him a ton, and I don't care. Tariq Cohen and Montgomery will be on the field at the same time a lot of times. Like, don't look into that the way people are. People are not understanding that David Montgomery is a generational talent, and he could be top 5 to 10, and you need to shove that guy into your lineup right away and not listen to anybody saying that he's not quite ready to be a starter, or he won't get enough touches to be a high-end running back too. That's madness. Absolutely crazy talk. Will Darrell Henderson be sharing with Gurley right away? I wouldn't go that far yet, but I think they're going to sprinkle Darrell Henderson in immediately. It could be one of those things where week 1 he doesn't get a lot of work, or it could be the Todd Gurley news is a lot worse than people are letting on, and something is going to unfold later, week 2, week 3 in the preseason, where they're like, Todd Gurley may not even suit up for week 1. Then it's the Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown split show, which I think eventually will have you getting a taste of Darrell Henderson once he breaks out and has those big runs and explosive runs and shows that he cannot be taken off the field. Then he slowly takes over. So, or in the preseason, if Darrell Henderson looks like a beast, they might immediately say we're giving him all the carries if something happens to Gurley. But for people to assume that Gurley is going to play week 1 and play a lot, I think that's a crazy assumption myself. I'm more of the assumption of he's got to prove to me he's ready before I start saying he's got to prove to me that he's not going to play. That's the funny stance that I think people do opposite of what I would do. I'm looking at this like Gurley's got to prove it before I even think he's going to play. Yeah, it's going to be the Darrell Henderson show at some point. Will it be week 1? I don't know. I'm not so blind that I can't tell you that I can't see Gurley trying to do his old thing and getting hurt. If he tries to take his old workload or anything close to it, he's going to get hurt. You said my question was queued up for stream this weekend on the community post. Jaws, what was it? Remind me what you're talking about, Jaws. I've been able to snag Lev Bell in back-to-back auctions for $40, and I still go wide receiver, Baker. That's excellent, Sand. Good job. Traded Penny for 2 220 second round picks projected picks. Penny for 2. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I like Penny, but, you know, if you can take both those picks and turn it into, and even add your pick to it, so I assume you have 3 second-round picks and turn that into a first, then I really like that. What's up, Smitty? What's up, Tom? Henderson reminds you of Maurice Jones-Drew. Absolutely. And mix in some Alvin Kamara. Not the player Mixon. Add in some Alvin Kamara. I think Henderson's got a lot of the MJD, Maurice Jones-Drew, and Kamara mixed into one package. I keep saying Mixon. I'm not saying the player Mixon. I like Olsen, man. Olsen for the Atlanta Falcons is a great rookie running back to own. He could be really good if they need him. I like Olsen a lot. Dion Lewis, a sleeper. He could be at this point, man, with Derrick Henry in a boot. Not sure what's going to go on. Odell is going to go crazy, Nolan. I love Odell Beckham Jr. in 2019. Oh, my God. I need to own him on like 5, 6, 7 of my 12 leagues. I usually don't put a lot of players. I usually don't draft the same player in a ton of my leagues, so if injury happens, even freak injury, it doesn't wipe out all of my teams. But Odell, I can't resist in auctions drafting him in every auction I'm in, which means I'm going to own him in like 7, 8 leagues. But I don't care, man. I can't wait. Baker to Odell. I love the stack Odell and Baker on a team together. What fun Sundays will bring. Joe Mixon, I don't like at all. This year's tier 2 wide receivers are fire. We have a good mix. Running backs get thin pretty quick. So with Jarek getting released, Coleman's value got boosted a lot. I love Coleman. Coleman in the 5-6 round range is fantastic. If he climbs into the 4th, I'm going to be a little less amped about his value. But right now, whenever a player like that gets cut and buzz starts getting some momentum, you start seeing players go a lot higher than they should. Hopefully Tevin Coleman doesn't get to that point. Keep Odell in the 2nd. Melvin in the 1st, Cooks, and yeah, Odell in the 2nd, bro. Who cares? I don't care if it's not even that amazing keeper value. You're securing Odell Beckham Jr. on your team. Cooks in the 5th is okay, but you could draft him probably there anyways. And Melvin Gordon in the 1st, you don't want him in the 1st right now anyway, so Odell's your pick. TJ Hawkinson is looking like a beast in Lions training camp. I like Hawkinson a lot. I think he adds a lot of blocking potential too, so that gives him a good, rookie boost in getting involved early. Could Galladay take a giant leap as the top dog and become elite? He could. The Lions are going to go really run heavy, but I think there's room for one wide receiver to eat a ton, and I think it will be Galladay. I think he could easily have 1,100 yard, 6 TD season, which would be pretty good. Dez to the Giants. Whatever. You better not, because the Giants are disastrous, man. Everything that happens to them is crumbling. Why you pass? I still can't get over you pass on Nikhil Harry 3 times. You pass on A.J. Brown 3 times. You don't go get a Hollywood Brown. You let Odell Beckham Jr. go, and you don't replace him with one of these really good underrated wide receivers from this 2019 draft class. Pretty moronic, if you ask me. Haskins and Nikhil Harry added with Barkley. Think about that. Let's stop and talk about this for a second. If you're a New York Giants fan or just a New York Giants observer, do you guys not see the value in Haskins, Barkley, and Nikhil Harry and Ingram? Then you start liking Ingram more. I would start liking Ingram more when there's more weapons to go around and keep defenses honest. Haskins, Saquon Barkley, Nikhil Harry, and Ingram. How are you not excited about that? How would you not say to yourself, this team will improve the defense through free agency and the draft next year? How do you not see that is a franchise difference maker type approach? How do the Giants not look at that and say, and I know I'm fantasy offensive oriented and I have a bias towards offensive players, but I do know when you can rebuild a team and when you can't. And when you do what the Giants did, you are going to be a black hole team and an eyesore for the NFL for a decade. They set themselves back a decade doing what they did in the draft, given what they could have done in the draft. Absolutely shameful what the Giants did to that situation and that opportunity to have those 3 first-round picks and to continue to pass on Nikhil Harry and A.J. Brown. Why not take Haskins, A.J. Brown, and Nikhil Harry, throw that with Saquon Barkley. Can't even talk tonight. Imagine that. Please hit the thumbs up, guys, if I've added any value to your night at all. I would appreciate that. You would steer away from the Giants, absolutely. And even Saquon worries me a little bit. Damian Williams is going to go off this year. Damian Williams, that's a topic that bothers me a lot. How people can tell me that Damian Williams is a huge risk or that he's going to lose his job when Damian Williams is literally one of, or not, if not the best running back for a 6-game stretch at the end of the year. Take his last 4 games in the regular season. He played 2 playoff games. You don't take any of the games out. You're taking his straight run of being the starter in that offense. So 4 regular season games on through to the playoffs, and Damian Williams is arguably number 1, 2, or 3, depending on the stats that you're analyzing or how you're scoring it. He had 10 TDs in those 6 games straight. He averaged over 100 yards total a game straight. And he ended the year on fire. And people are going to suggest that he's going to stumble or that he won't be able to do it again. Watch the film. Or that, Damian Williams didn't do well in Miami, so he can't be good, right? Otherwise, he would have already done it, right? No, he was in a black hole situation. And if you watch the film and you accept the fact that you can't separate Damian Williams' situation with his talent or anything like that, it's a package deal in fantasy football. And you look at that situation and you say to yourself, Damian Williams finished the year on fire, was one of the best running backs, if not the best running back for that 6-game stretch in fantasy football. And he returns to that situation again. And he's been extended, so they want to keep him as a starter. They like him. He's learned the offense. He's one more offseason versed in that offense, which is probably the most underrated part of the whole equation, because you can't replace that. In this offense being so complicated, Damian Williams is the default, de facto starting running back. He will not be replaced unless he gets hurt. And he showed no signs of being injury prone during that stretch in 2019, so you can't tag him as an injury prone player. But that offense is so complicated, no one's unseating him unless he gets hurt, because he didn't even know that he still is learning the offense is that complicated. He said in an interview that he couldn't do everything right away, that he was limited because that offense was so complicated and he had to get to know it. How are you going to unseat a guy like that? That's like being the only guy at your work that knows how to update, let's say, the website. That guy's golden. What are they going to do? Fire that guy? No one's replacing that guy. If he's the only guy that has control or the keys to that technology, he's got job security. Damian Williams is the only one in Kansas City that knows how to use a computer, if you want that analogy. Think of him like the IT master. His job security is through the roof. We'll start calling him an inside joke. We'll start calling Damian Williams Damien the IT master Williams. I'm saying I agree with it. I'm not sure if, Curtis, you're referring to me. I didn't answer a few questions here. I've been getting Odell, Hill, and Evans together. Absolutely fantastic. And Montgomery. That's my recipe, Tom. That's my recipe, Tom. Make sure you copyright that at your draft. Say copyright Smitty 2019. I love that recipe, Tom. Keep doing it. That is a league-winning recipe, Tom. You're the man. You're using the formula. Didn't say it was my opinion. Just been hearing it go around. Nolan, I don't know if you think I was referring to you. I'm not. I'm trying to read back of what you guys might be thinking. I'm a Chiefs fan. I don't like Damien, says Neil. Damien has a clear role. Jamison Crowder. I don't regret. Okay. I don't know if I'm caught up. If I missed something, post it. None of that was directed to any of you. So, Nolan, I don't know if that's what you're even talking about. I wasn't directing any of that to any of you, the Damian Williams rant. I'm just talking about Damian Williams. Damian is a product of the Chiefs offense. Bearing injury, he will produce, as Smitty says, trust. And Richard, This is not directed to you or anybody here, but it's crazy talk when people say that he's a product of that offense, he won't do well or something like that. It's like, dude, who cares if he's a product of that offense? And again, you're saying the same thing as I am. Who cares? You can't separate it. You can't dissect Damian Williams from that offense. He is that offense. It is one thing. Priest Holmes was a Kansas City Chief running back at the best time to be a running back. You can't take that away from him. You can't value him any differently. It is what it is. So Damian Williams is locked in to that amazing product of his environment type situation. Oh, no, that was just a response to someone else. Okay, just making sure. Who would you take, William? Will you take Williams in the late second round? Yes. I try to get him in the third round. I try so hard, and sometimes he gets sniped. And that's okay, too, because I like Kittel in the third round. I like Mahomes in the third round. Yeah, make fun of me all you want, Mahomes haters. I like... hit that thumbs up, guys, if I brought you any value tonight. I appreciate it. I like a lot of guys in that third round. Not a ton of them. So I do get disappointed when like all 3 or 4 of my top guys are gone. But usually Mahomes is there for me. And Mahomes is a guy I take when all my other favorite players are gone in the third round. Because I'd rather take the guy I think could be the best player in fantasy football, period, than take a guy I'm like, oh, I'm going to take him because he's in the tier and I need to get a running back. So I'll take him. That's the dumbest way to draft. So are drafting around bye weeks. I'll draft everybody. A QB is the only thing I worry about. But for people to actually draft a different player, like in the third round, because he shares the bye week with a guy he took in the second, and you're worried, that's the dumbest way to draft. Like, don't let a bye week influence who you're taking. Only your backup quarterback should matter on that. Or in a situation where the backup needs to play and you only carry 2 spots like a quarterback. But that is the dumbest approach to worry about a bye week. Let your team lose 1 week. Take the challenge and say, I'm still going to win. I've won weeks like that where I'm like, I have everybody in a bye. It's my worst team I have the whole year, and somehow I win that week. Yeah, and having all your guys on a bye week, you lose 1 game versus being hurt for multiple weeks here and there. It makes for a painful week, but dude, we play in so many leagues, who cares anymore? Jaws, I read somewhere about a coach saying, Jaws, did I miss your comment already? I'm sorry if you've already pasted it in, but Jaws, whatever you're talking about earlier, please paste it in right here. I'll look for it right now and make sure I don't miss it. But tell me what you're talking about. What was I gonna do? Was I gonna put you on my podcast? Zeke's holdout is very temporary. They are close. I agree, Jake. Jalen Ballage has potential. He does. You got Hyde in the 12th. Hopefully he takes the job. Haha, very doubtful. Yeah, dude, Darwin Thompson. I mean, here's the thing. I like Darwin Thompson a lot more than I like Hyde. But because of the complexity of the offense, like I just talked about with Damien, that means that Hyde probably has an edge over Darwin. But Hyde can't stay healthy. He's had a lot of time to prove it. 4 teams in a year and a half, whatever. Darwin, just like Damien, they might roll with them and say, hey, we're going to use you in a special way like they used Damien, because Damien was not used in every play. They had to run like plays for him to keep it simple because it's so freaking complex. And that's not a knock on Williams. Williams is a smart guy that absorbed everything and did everything right. Jaws, I'm sure the Drake will still be the primary pass catcher. He could. Super chat. Tom, keep up the great work, brother. I'll put you at #1 analyst now, Smitty. Great content. I'm very active with your followers. Thank you, Tom. Tom with the super chat. Tom, I appreciate it. I always appreciate the super chat, guys. It makes me want to go live, to be honest with you. I want to go live with you guys regardless, but if I'm sitting around, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna record this video. It sometimes pushes me over the edge to be like, you know what? I'm gonna do the video live instead of doing a pre-recorded, like, cut up thing. So it's so appreciated, and it really adds value to the show. So I appreciate the super chat there, Tom, and I'm glad I'm your number one analyst now. It only took me about 2 shows to get a hold of that one spot, right? Because you had me at what, 2 or 3, and now I'm 1 in Tom's mind, and that makes Tom a genius, right, Tom? Question about what you make. That question was about what you make of Kenyan Drake starting out in camp behind Ballage. I don't know what to make of that. Is that, were you going to have that on the show, Jaws? I'm sure Drake, I'm just trying to read all this stuff. With Edelman hurt, Harry is getting practice in the slot. He can show his skills and his ADP will climb. I love Nikhil Harry, guys. I went on YouTube back in February, March, and I created a sign that's in my office, in my studio, that has Nikhil Harry on the sign. And I did a video, and I said that Nikhil Harry would be a top, not 4, top 1 to 4, meaning he could be the number 1 overall wide receiver in fantasy football within 1 to 2 years. That means that he has a whole year here to get kind of his feet wet, a whole nother year to get a hold of that, thinking that, hey, this guy is going to be that good, and then entering his 3rd year, so 1 to 2 years, entering his 3rd year, Nikhil Harry could be the number 1 fantasy football wide receiver in the game. But I put a 1 to 4 on that. So he could be 4, he could be 1. He'll be right up there with the Adams and the Hopkins. He'll be that good. Nikhil Harry, if there's one thing I do well, feel like I do a lot of things well, but if there's one thing that I do better than anything, and I have my flaws and I miss on stuff, guys. I swing hard, and I have some years where I hit so many things out of the park, but then other years where injury could hit my bold predictions and things like that. So I don't have perfect years every year. Last year I hit so many freaking home runs with Mahomes being my number 1 bold prediction, James Conner being my number 2, both of them written like literally before. The Conner one was written in early August, or actually July. The Mahomes one was written in December, before the off season. I said he'd be top 5 wide QB. Do I miss on stuff? Yes, but what I do so well, and why I name my site sleeperu.com, is for the sleepers, the guys that people don't see coming, the ahead of the curve stuff. And Nikhil Harry, to me, when I watch him on film, I see Calvin Johnson, I see Terrell Owens, I see a morph between those 2 guys. Nikhil Harry can survive if Brady were to leave. He'll make his QB better like Calvin Johnson did. Hopkins didn't always have Watson there. The elite wide receivers can make it work. Nikhil Harry, to me, he screams like elite to an extreme degree that I can't even express. I just literally can't contain myself when I talk about Nikhil Harry's upside. What's your bold predictions for 2019? Polycat, I can't give them all out. That's why you got to go to sleeperu.com. That's SLEEPER, sleeper, the letter U, like university.com. It is a university of sleeper knowledge. Go to sleeperu.com and you're going to get a bunch of my bold predictions. You'll get rankings, you get drag and drop stuff. Trade calculators. I invented the trade calculator in 2004 in the fantasy football industry, and everybody took it. Should have patented that shit. Trade calculator, dynasty trade calculator, rookie trade calculator. My super rookie rankings are badass. They are an innovation that I did because I innovate in this business. And mother effer, who's saying that to me? I innovated in this business and I created super rookie rankings. What are super rookie rankings? Super rookie rankings are where I take the rookie class and compare them to the sophomores. And it's only those 2. And for whatever reason, it gets people excited and they love it and they eat it up, and they're like, they don't care that the other players aren't ranked. They want to see, what does this rookie class rank and how do they shake out when compared only to the sophomores? Then when the rookies graduate and become sophomores, then I throw the new rookie class. So the super rookie rankings next offseason will be this 2020 class that's coming in next offseason. mixed in with these guys right here. So where is David Montgomery? Where is Darrell Henderson? Where is Josh Jacobs? Where are these guys going to rank in next year's super rookie rankings when compared to mixed in with this 2020 running back class? It's going to be off the hook. I can't wait to do the super rookie rankings for the 2020 class. I can't wait. That's going to be damn exciting. Damn exciting. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up. Smitty, so you are going to be live Sunday mornings every game day. I'd much rather hear you than ESPN Cats. Thank you, Sand. And the answer to that is yes. I don't know how it's going to look yet. I have news announcing Monday. If I was on my computer right now, I would show you a promo video that I've created. But on Instagram, and the same username on Instagram as I have for the Fantasy Football Show, go to, if you're on the app, search for the Fantasy Football Show. If you're going via a web browser, which I don't think anybody in their right mind visits Instagram that way, but if you do, go to Instagram.com/the Fantasy Football Show. But on Instagram on Monday, I'm revealing a new series that's coming out on Instagram, and it's another fantasy football analyst and myself are cooking up something for you guys for the fantasy football season. But that is not the morning show. The morning show that I'm doing will be a more, I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. I'm still working it out, but every Sunday morning you can find me on Instagram and on YouTube. I don't know if I'm going to start on one and then continue over to the other, or if I'm going to live simultaneously stream both Instagram and YouTube live on Sunday mornings. But I'm answering your questions on Sunday morning an hour before kickoff. I'll either start on YouTube or start on Instagram and then head over to YouTube, or just do both. But I'm going to answer your questions every Sunday morning. If you guys want start bench questions answered, if you want to hear the news, I'll be doing a bunch of news stuff Sunday morning before kickoff, 1 hour before. Make sure you check in youtube.com/the Fantasy Football Show and Instagram.com/the Fantasy Football Show. Sunday mornings with Smitty is what it's probably going to be called. I don't know yet. You guys come up with a better name, I'm going to take it. So toss out name examples for me. Nick, I think that question was for someone else. Thanks, man. Looking forward to it. Yeah, Sunday mornings are going to be off the hook. Make sure you guys are there, ready to go. Derrick Henry is in a walking boot. Yes, he is. Derrick Henry is not a guy I'm drafting. Some other analysts love him in the second round. This guy, not so much. Vikes really upgraded O-line. Cook is top 5. Elijah, everyone else should take a lap for how great that statement is. Dalvin Cook is fire in 2019. Dalvin Cook is going to be so elite. Dalvin Cook has top 5 to 10 overall upside in 2019. And you can get him at 15, 16, 17 overall. Unbelievable value. Dalvin Cook is one of the best values in fantasy football right now at 15, 16, 17 overall. I'm torn between him and Mike Evans. Both of them have top 5 potential at their position. Odell Beckham Jr. at 2.02, 2.03 has top 5 potential at his position. Even Antonio Brown has top 5 potential at his position. There's a lot of value in that second round. I'm usually a guy that trades up for the big guns. I like having Kamara and Zeke. I still do. That's still a fantastic strategy for me. I love it. But I love this year more than I ever have. This is the one year that if I'm going to trade down into the second round, let me paint a picture for you. You want aggressive trading tactics? Here you go. You have the number 3 overall. Okay? Yeah, I like taking a Kamara there. But what I want to try this year, and I'm going to try and trade into it, you get the number 3 overall pick. Okay, so that means you have the third to the last pick in the second round. That means you might get a Cook. You might get a Mike Evans. You'll probably get an AB. You could probably get Damian Williams. Lock that player into your roster. You're trading your first rounder to get into the second. Let's say you take somebody's mid-second rounder. You take their third rounder, and you give them back a 5th or a 6th round. Okay? Now you have 2 second-round picks, 2 third-round picks, and yeah, you lost a 6th rounder. You're getting aggressive, right? Now you trade your third, and your fifth and get back into the second. Then you trade your other third, because you had 2/3, and your seventh and eighth if you have to give both of them. Offering somebody multiple things and only taking one thing in return has a higher likelihood in that owner saying, screw it, I'll do it. Now you have 4 second-round picks. Yes, you have lost some depth along the way. Not that much when you look at it, because you got 4 picks in the first 22 overall picks. But you go ahead and you get Odell, you get Dalvin Cook, you get Mike Evans, you get Damian Williams. Try that in a league and get a quarterback like Roethlisberger, Brady in the 10th round. Get a guy like Tyler Boyd potentially still. His ADP might climb. Grab the Darrell Hendersons, the Jaylen Samuels of the world. But that is also a very fun way to draft. My favorite way to draft is auction. And in an auction, I've said it before already on this show, my favorite strategy in 2019 is something that I use over and over. And that is either getting Baker Mayfield or Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes if you can pull it off, but Baker Mayfield or Rodgers, David Montgomery, and you're spending the bulk of your money on 3 of the elite wide receivers, or 2 of them and George Kittel. So Odell Beckham Jr., Mike Thomas, because those guys oftentimes fall to the second round, the top of the second round. But if you equate that to auction dollars, you're talking about 2 wide receivers that you're getting that have just as much upside and value as Adams and Hopkins, but you're getting them a little bit cheaper. So you go ahead and you get yourself Mike Evans and Odell Beckham Jr. and a Kittel, David Montgomery, and Baker Mayfield. Or you go Mike Evans, Mike Thomas, Odell Beckham Jr., grab a Njoku later, take David Montgomery, take Baker Mayfield or Aaron Rodgers, and then load up on Darrell Henderson, Jaylen Samuels, Damien Harris, all of those characters that will get you to the promised land. My favorite auction strategy in 2019. So basically, Sand says Baker, Cook, Schuster, OBJ, AB. That's what I'm talking about. That works too, man. If you draft Dalvin Cook, handcuff him with Madison. Absolutely. Absolutely. But Dalvin Cook's fire, bro. Fire. The guy's also a good year, another year removed from ACL injury. His likelihood of re-tearing is not super concerning. That happens with running backs as they remove themselves another year. And you compensate, which is why Cook had injuries last year, which is why Cooper Kupp will probably have injury concerns this year, because he's overcompensating while he's trying to rush back. You've got Geis trying to prove to the whole world he's ready when he's probably not. And he could get hurt. He already suffered a minor setback. But Geis and Cooper Kupp, mark my words, are the most injury-prone players for the cost right now out of any players. Preach about the ACL. I've torn my ACL, Nick, so I can definitely preach on that, my friend. I've torn my patellar tendon. Let me show you this bad boy. I tore my patellar tendon off my kneecap about 1.5 years or so ago. Your patellar tendon attaches to your knee here and goes in underneath your shin bone. I tore it there. So my kneecap severed there, basically severing my thigh, and you're basically cutting your thigh in half. When you cut your patellar tendon in half and it snaps off, your kneecap goes from here all the way up to here. My kneecap is right here. It was still attached at the top, but it ripped off at the bottom. I severed my thigh from my leg. I couldn't pick up my leg like that. Once you tear that, you have no like movement pulling it up. So I tore that. In this knee, I tore my ACL in 2000. God, I don't know what year it was. I know a lot about knee injuries, and I know a lot about the arthritis. I know a lot about the cartilage issues. I know a lot about, I forget why I was even talking about this. What did somebody ask? How did I tear it? I teared it. Don't laugh at me, okay? It was a really aggressive flag football league. I tore my ACL in a full contact, no pads, full on blocking flag football league. And we had broken fingers and all that stuff. It's one of those, I don't know if you guys play in those really aggressive flag leagues, but they're hardcore, man. I mean, we'd have bloody noses and teeth getting knocked out, fingers broken. I mean, no pads, full on blocking and hitting, which was crazy. And I had my leg locked and some piece of SOB piece of whatever shoved me in the back and my knee was locked and just, I tore my ACL, my MCL, my LCL, meniscus, didn't tear my PCL. And yeah, that sucked. And to this day, it doesn't ever feel fully back, but I overcompensated for so long. I tore my patellar tendon in my other knee, and I did that because I overcompensated. And I was playing basketball, going full speed, thinking that I'm a young buck, and I'm not anymore. Jumped up, landed, and as soon as I landed, it felt like some other effer took a 2x4 and just smacked me right in the leg. I remember looking like, who hit me? And it was literally, it just popped. And when you tear your patellar tendon like that, it feels like somebody hits you with a 2x4. It was the weirdest thing in the world. I swear somebody was there with a board. It felt like that. And it went, and both cases I rolled around. I was in public places with kids in both of those scenarios. And I have a natural reaction when I tear a ligament, ACL or my patellar tendon. They're very serious ligaments, but apparently when I do that, I scream the F word over and over and over repeatedly. And I roll around like you see an NFL player when they're done. Whenever you see an NFL player roll onto his stomach and hit the ground, you know they're done. They're done. Very rarely has that happened and it was something that they were able to like recover from. That means you've torn something severe. And I remember I was like screaming the F-bomb, rolling around. It hurt bad. Your ACL, believe it or not, I know a lot about ACL injuries too. Your ACL doesn't hurt. When you tear your ACL, there's no feeling in the ACL. What you feel is the surrounding damage that usually occurs when you tear your ACL. Only in soccer or in a really controlled, rare situation can you tear your ACL without tearing your other ligaments and messing up your knee, especially in football or basketball. What happens, and the reason you tear your ACL to begin with, is your knee joint, you twist your knee, you dislocate it in a way that tears the other ligaments as well. You don't pop your ACL with your knee tearing like that without ripping meniscus. So when a player has meniscus problems with an ACL tear, there's a lot of damage and collateral damage in a knee. So someone like Chubb had one of the most aggressive knee injuries like we've seen in a long time. Nick Chubb, that's why I don't like Nick Chubb without Kareem Hunt, because I really firmly believe we're looking at a guy that's going to miss games in 2019. But I think Nick Chubb will play like a top 5 to 10 running back per start. But so will Kareem Hunt. That's why it's so important to get both of them. I remember when Bo Jackson rolled around and was done. Yeah, man. Who here hasn't ever tried auction draft? That's a good question. Remember when that happened to Teddy Bridgewater? Ouch, oof, most days, ouch. Broke my ankle. That sucks, sorry, man. Anyway. Dontrelle Hillard. Remember Charles, Charles Rogers? Was that his name? The Detroit Lions wide receiver. He was going to be so good. He kept breaking his collarbone. Collarbones are a tricky one, too. Priest Holmes tore his hip. Anyways. So, to wrap up sleeper talk, guys, I firmly believe you can win your league more than any other aspect of fantasy football, drafting, trading, management, through landing your sleepers. Not only can a sleeper help fill a hole if you go wide receiver, and you end up with a hole at your running back too. Not only can a sleeper approach and landing these big name guys, hoarding running backs on your bench if you can. Yeah, please hit the thumbs up, as Curtis says. It really helps the channel. If I've provided you any value, if you think I look funny, if you feel bad for me because I tore my ACL and my knee, hit that thumbs up. I appreciate it. But if any approach is going to make you win, it's sleepers. It's landing your sleepers. It's if you can get, thank you, Elijah. If you can get a player like Jaylen Samuels and Benny Snell together to pop, you now have trade bait. If you have a hole you need to trade for, you can laterally make a trade that actually one of the best scenarios of being able to make an even trade with somebody else and both teams benefit. When you groom a running back like Jaylen Samuels and Benny Snell up together and they become an elite player, and then you can step into a Mike Evans, you can step into an Antonio Brown and rent him for a year if you're in a dynasty league, whatever. Jaylen Samuels and Benny Snell can do that for you. Jaylen Samuels and Benny Snell, if you land them, I'm using them as an example, if you land them, you can then take that running back and plug it into your lineup and win. That's the way you turn a team around. That's the way you hit a home run. That's the way you have somebody look at your team in week 12 and you're showing a buddy. You say, look at my roster. And your buddy's like, how the hell did you get that team? People that drafted James Conner, like I predicted him to break out as my number 2 bold prediction. Those people got to go to people in week 8, week 9 and say, look at my roster. And people are like, how the hell did you get James Conner and all that talent? Because you drafted James Conner as a sleeper. Don't underestimate the value of stashing guys. And so that might sound easy, obvious. You're like, what are you even telling me here, Smitty? Here's what the gist of that is and why I'm telling you this and why it's not obvious, because people don't do it. Too many times you have somebody going, and I like Pettis, don't get me wrong, but too many times you have people say, I like Dante Pettis, I'm going to take him. Instead of taking a Jaylen Samuels, instead of taking a Darrell Henderson. You know, taking a Lat Murray over a Darrell Henderson. I like Lat Murray too, and you can even use him in the same example of a Darrell Henderson, a home run hitter, if something happened to Kamara. But my point is, when you pass on a Pettis, when you take a Pettis over a guy that can win a league, ask yourself, what player are you going to use first if push comes to shove? Are you going to actually use a Dante Pettis? If you are, it's not bad value, but can you draft a Larry Fitzgerald down a round or 2 or even 3 rounds later that can essentially do the same thing for you? If the answer is yes, then you should be spending those middle round range picks on players that can hit home runs and win for you. Instead of drafting a Pettis or trying to think of some names that make sense for this in the 7th and 8th round. Toss out some 7th and 8th round guys. Toss them out for me. Instead of going with a guy, you're like, oh, he's the best player available. I like a Dante Pettis because he can do good for me when I need him. Instead of drafting a guy like that, wait and take a Fitzgerald and yes, steal a Kareem Hunt later in the draft. When people are making fun of you for taking Kareem Hunt and saying, oh my God, he's out half a year, you're not worried about that. Yeah, Sutton, Penny, these are all good players. Sutton could take that next step and be a wide receiver 3 and provide good value to a team. But Darrell Henderson can win you a league. Jaylen Samuels can win you a league. Kirk, I like Kirk a lot. Lockett, he's good. I'd rather have Darrell Henderson. She'd rather have Darrell Henderson. She's yelling Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson can win you a league. These other guys can't. That's what you got to think about. And when you take that mentality into your middle rounds and you say, I'm going to make a running back store. I'm going to groom running backs and one of them is going to land. If you do that, that's how you come up with a team that people look at and say, how the hell did you come up with that team? Did you make a huge trade? What on earth did you do to land that team? That's what you want people saying about your team at the end of the year. And you're not going to do that by playing it safe and drafting guys that fit the bill for that position. Take your big names, take a lot of sleepers, and decide for yourself when you can take a Pettis, when you can take a Lockett, and cash those guys in or pass on them essentially in a draft and take your Darrell Hendersons and your Jaylen Samuels type players. These guys will win you a league. If you miss on them, what's the harm? You still got a Larry Fitzgerald to replace Pettis. He'll be just fine. I love Damien Harris, Nick. I think Damien Harris is another league winner. Damien Harris is, in my opinion, and you can crap all over me all you want on this comment, Damien Harris to me is better than Josh Jacobs. Jacobs has a better situation for now. Jacobs will start right away. Harris will not. Damien Harris was a better prospect in January and December, and people forget that because people have short memories. Damien Harris is playing behind a guy named Sony Michel that has bone on bone in one of his knees, according to a lot of reports, and a guy that just had a knee procedure, a guy that a lot of people said might only have a couple years in the league at an elite level, and his knees will be done. Damien Harris is a guy that's going to blow up. I don't know when. I don't know if it'll be for 4 weeks. I don't know if it'll be for 10 weeks. I don't know if it'll be for 2 games. But Darrell Henderson has elite potential, league-winning potential for you. And those are the guys I'm scooping up. That's what this whole show is about. Sleepers for 2019 fantasy football. Draft your 2019 fantasy football sleepers and get them in the middle rounds. They will win you your league. Any questions before I jump off? Subscribe, follow. Don't be afraid to be bold in 2019. Don't be afraid to take sleepers over more proven guys and draft those other players down the way. I appreciate every one of you. I appreciate you, those of you that super chatted. Nolan, Nick, Mighty, Buffoon, Richard, Nick, Sand, Curtis, Elijah, Fantasy Savvy, James, Gary, Happa, all of you guys. I'm trying to scroll through and see everybody that's been in here. You guys all rock. I appreciate every one of you. Nolan, you guys make this show. We are going to make the Fantasy Football Show the best show in the business. In like 5.5 short months, we've gone from 0 to 1,800 subscribers. And our activity and engagement is through the roof. When I look at our activity and engagement versus other shows, we are like literally way ahead of them in terms of, they have more subscribers. If I look at like a 10,000 show or a 19,000, there are a couple pretty good shows out there. I do like them, good content, but you look at a 19,000 subscriber show and we're right there in terms of engagement, guys. So when we get to 10,000 and 20,000, we're going to be so off the hook. And I can't wait to bring you guys a daily show. I do daily videos now, but I want you guys to see me in a studio from 10 to 2 every day live, knowing that I'm going to watch the Smitty show, the fantasy football show, from 10 to 2, and I can count on it. And it's going to be like the Mike and Mike of fantasy football. I'll have guests on just like I do now, but it'll be consistent, and I'll still drip out this kind of content too. It's not going to stop me from doing it. Please hit the thumbs up on the way out. You're doing a good job. Thank you, Nick. Whoops. Almost broke my whatchamacallit. Let's go, Elijah. And Smitty we trust, says Buffoon. Aaron Jones might explode this year. Absolutely. I was pounding my face in earlier this summer when I was hearing Miles Sanders, that guy won't get... Yeah, I'd rather have Damien Harris than Miles Sanders. Whatever. Don't like that? Tough. Your takes on fantasy are making you huge. Keep it coming. Thank you, Elijah. Have a good one. Thanks, guys. I appreciate every single one of you. You rock. I'm going to let this actually tick out to a whole hour. So we have a minute or two. I don't know why. I just want it to be an hour long. Plus, I don't know if that does anything for search or anything. Hour-long show. Final question. Anybody have a final question? Yeah, we're going to make this show huge. I can't wait. And for those of you that are still here, I know everybody, just when I said I was leaving, they are kind of filing out. Hit the thumbs up on your way out, please, if I've added any value at all. Those of you that are still watching, Sunday mornings, I'm going to be doing a show every Sunday morning before kickoff. An hour before. It'll probably be on YouTube and on Instagram. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. Yeah, it'll probably be this, Sunday with Smitty, Sunday morning with Smitty, whatever. I want you guys to come up with some names too. What's up, Leo? What it do? Not doing much. I'm about to jump off. Do another scooter video. I will. If there was a scooter around here, I would have jumped on it already. But the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm jumping, is that, yeah, we're doing Sunday mornings on YouTube and Instagram, and it's going to be freaking awesome. Go Vikings. Go Dalvin Cook, bro. Dalvin Cook's going to blow up. Bar Louie guy checking in. Leo, are you a Bar Louie guy for real, or are you just saying Bar Louie guy? Are you really one of the OG Bar Louie guys for real, Leo? Sorry if I don't remember. Let me know before I leave real quick if you're really a Bar Louie guy. Everyone in this chat, we are all huge junkies. Yes, we are. Oh, you're messing with me. Okay. I thought maybe you were. Thanks for being honest, though. All right, guys. 60 minutes. We did it. Hour-long show. Yeah, I'll find a scooter. Don't worry. But peace out. Thank you. Be bold. Be brave. And drop them sleepers. You know what I mean? Later.